and today I thought I would explain to you why I failed my driving test. I don't know why I'm doing a dance because I am not happy. Anyway, here's the story. So, it was the day of my driving test. I was extremely nervous. I felt like my insides were trying to come up and out my mouth, and I was just trying to keep them at bay. My driving instructor knocked on my door, all bright and chirpy at 9 AM in the morning, and I was like, ugh, no, not today, not today. But anyway, I persevered. Got in the car. I had a 2-hour driving rest beforehand. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, not a cloud in the sky. It was perfect driving conditions. And I thought, do you know what? Today is a good day. I am going to pass. And I was driving perfectly beforehand. I was driving all over the place. I was doing roundabouts, I was doing dual carriageways, I was doing maneuvers, I was doing everything. Perfect. My driving instructor was like, you're definitely gonna pass, you're definitely gonna pass. And I was like, don't speak too early, mate. And he shouldn't have, because then it all went downhill. So we got to the test centre about 10 minutes before my test time. Now normally there's about 5 other people there. It was just me. The place was deserted, and I was like, this is a bad sign already. Like, there is a reason why nobody is here, and probably because this place is terrible and they fail everybody. I was sat in the test centre. I was sweating profusely because they'd painted the windows shut so you couldn't actually open them. And then I hear the door open and a very chirpy middle-aged woman comes out, and I thought, this can't possibly be the examiner, because I have heard terrible things about examiners, that they hate their job, that they love failing people. She was really talkative, like a bit too talkative. But anyway, I gave her my license, and then she was like, lead me to your vehicle. So I took her outside, so we walked over to the car, and then she was like, right, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, so lift up the bonnet. Did that, you know, yeah, because I'm like tough, and I know all about under the bonnet and stuff. Got all the questions right. I was like, this is going well, this is going well. And then she was like, okay, you can drive off when you're ready. So I started driving away, and as soon as I turned the engine on, she started talking, like non-stop. So like, I was in Primark the other day, like, got loads of nice clothes. I got like some shoes, so just carry on driving, you know, put your foot down a bit. I've heard that examiners usually don't speak a word, so this was definitely not what I was expecting. But I didn't want to sound rude and be like, excuse me, can you not talk to me? Because then she'd probably fail me. So, started driving away while she's still talking. And we get to the first junction as we're leaving the test centre, and she's like, turn right here. So I turn right, and then she's like, go straight ahead. So I went straight ahead. I thought everything was fine. I did not realise at this point that I'd already failed my test, because as I turned right out of the test centre, I missed the give way, because the junction was here and the give way was here. Right, that makes no sense at all. Basically, it was junction. So I was looking ahead, and I just completely missed the junction. And after my test, my instructor was like, oh, maybe I should have told you about that junction. Loads of people always forget about that. Maybe you should have told me. Yes, I would have appreciated that. Anyway, as soon as that happened, the instructor changed completely. We carried on. I didn't know I had failed at this point, so I was still very nervous and thinking, do not do anything, do not mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. And it was going fine until we got to the manoeuvre, and I had to do a reverse round a left side road. So I started the manoeuvre, and as I got round the side road, I realised that the side road was bendy, like this. So normally you follow the curb in your back window, right? But the curb was bending, so I kept losing the curb, and then I suddenly felt the car go up, and I was like, great, because if you go up a curb on a driving test, it's an instant fail. And I was like, the £200 I paid for that driving test just ripped away from me. But actually, when I got back to the test centre, somehow she didn't realise we went on the curb and she didn't even give me a minor for it. The car was nearly vertical up the curb, alright? How could you miss that? That's not the end of it. There is still one more major that has yet to happen, and this was scarring, okay? So I was driving along through this little town. I had no idea, I'd never been there before. So I was just like, yeah, driving along, and there was no speed limit signs anywhere. And I don't know about America, but in the UK, if there aren't any speed limit signs, if it's a normal wide road with lampposts, then you presume that it's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. So I was going 30 miles an hour. And I was driving along, and in the distance I saw a yellow sign, and I had my glasses on, so it wasn't my eyesight, it was just a very small sign. And by the time I got up to it, I read that it said, warning, very low bridge ahead, no vans over 6'6". So I thought, it wasn't a red sign, so it was just an informing sign. And I thought, okay, I'll slow down a little bit, but it's not going to affect me, it's a low bridge, I'm a small car, so, you know, I'm cautious, but not overly cautious, because you can get felled for being overly cautious and going too slow. So it's a lose-lose situation. Anyway, before I could even think about what happened, the examiner slammed on the brakes. Whoa! Jesus Christ, you almost killed us! And I looked up from my near-death experience and saw that a name which I won't say on camera was driving up the bridge, and it was a 2-lane bridge, and he was using both lanes. He was driving in the middle of both lanes, which is not my fault, but she slammed on the brakes, and because she had to do an emergency stop, that was classed as not just a serious fault, but a dangerous fault. But I was driving the right speed limit, I saw the signs, I was slowing down, it was a 2-way bridge, it was just an idiot coming up using both lanes. So of course it's a dangerous situation, but it's a dangerous situation that's not caused by me. So after that I stalled the car twice and I almost cried. And that is the end of how I failed my driving test. This video was going to be a sort of tips video on how to pass your driving test, but I don't feel like I'm in the right position to be giving out driving advice. On the plus side, I did buy a car yesterday, so hopefully I can improve. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this little ranty video. I don't even know what category you could put this video in. Let me know if you are a driver and whether you passed your test first time or failed your test and how many times you failed it. Let's, you know, give each other some moral support. Let's fail our tests together. Yay! Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on my social media accounts, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye! The next thing I have I'm very, very excited for. It is a Reese's Spread Snacksters. I think they're like biscuit sticks and peanut butter chocolate